My favorite part of our makerspace is definitely the kids. The fact that so many different kinds of kids come in here and have different experiences and try new things and are always having fun. That's the thing they always talk about is how much fun they have, and I get to see kids working together on things that they've probably never tried, working with kids that they might not like be best friends with, and they get to kind of interact with people that they don't normally spend time with. It's changed a lot. It's still changing. It's always changing. We started off with just a couple of kits that could circulate to study halls specifically. That was a need we had. And then we started to kind of collect mostly craft materials at the beginning. And that was fine. It was a huge mess all the time. But then once we were able to get some funding and support from our foundation, we were able to purchase kind of the more big ticket items like the electronic stuff and the robots. And we got a 3D printer last year. And so we're just kind of slowly piecing things together. But the space itself changes constantly. We bring things in and take things out, and furniture moves around. The kids move things around, and it's kind of fun to see when I walk in the day after being like, oh, that's new. Yes. Yes, sure. Actually, this was just this year. I had this huge plan to do this collaborative Rube Goldberg machine, and in theory, it was going to be awesome. And I did all this planning and made this worksheet, and I had a thing for how it was all going to work out, and it totally fell apart. And it was just a reminder that, oh, I can't pre-plan something like that. The kids were into it, but I have such different groups every day that the same team members would never be here at the same time. So that taught me a lot of different ways to think about how we organize, like the project we're doing now, just having groups that if you show up, you can just join one of those groups so that it's not like you have to have this one person there to make it work. Anytime I hear kids talking about how much they like trying new things and enjoying being here, and just the fact that they know the word makerspace and like it's just like a totally normal part of their day, like it's not like, oh, what's that? Um, that's just become part of the culture at our school. I love that. I think it's just because it's in the library. One, it's a different environment. It's not quite a classroom. It's not quite a free space. But they have freedom to kind of do whatever they want within the limits of the library, and I think they really enjoy that sense of independence and getting a chance to like just play because they're as junior high kids. They don't have recess. They don't have a lot of chances just to be kids anymore, and so I think that the makerspace has really kind of given them that chance to try different things without, I always hear them say, without being judged. Like they like that they can come here and do things without worrying about failing. Not personally at my school, but I think the most common thing I hear from other teacher librarians around the country who are thinking about adding a makerspace, it's always that struggle of I don't have time, or I don't have time to supervise it or run it or whatever. And that's something that we deal with in our profession as educators all the time. There's never enough time to do everything that we want to do as well as we'd like it to be. Um, so I've personally been able to make it work because it's a priority for me, and I believe that it's valuable. And I think anytime you have something that you think is really important, you'll make the time and maybe get rid of something that's maybe wasting your time. But I've also been really fortunate here that we have kind of some structures in place that have made it really possible for us to have the makerspace be successful. Most of our students have study halls, some of them more than one a day, so that's a natural place to get kids to come in. We also have our Little Hawk Time, which is our like intervention MTSS block. So every day we have a half hour built-in time where kids can sign up to come to the makerspace for an enrichment, and I use that time as my like one-on-one or teaching time with them. And the rest of the day, the Makerspace is totally independent. The kids don't get any instruction. I do also have the great benefit of having library staff who are always here. So I'm often teaching in other parts of the building and not supervising the Makerspace, but my library secretary is usually pretty hands-off with the Makerspace kids. She kind of gives reminders when they need them to get back on task or to clean up before the bell rings, but she hasn't complained about having, kids don't know what to do and they're aimless, so we try to put things in place like signage and make little videos and advertise things on Instagram so that kids sort of know what the expectations are. I mean, I think all teachers and definitely all librarians have a little bit of a control problem, and we like for things to go a certain way, and that does not happen in the Makerspace, and it's like really been hard because I used to be in an elementary and coming to secondary again, with kind of letting go of giving directions and telling kids, now do this, now do this, now do this, now do this. And so I think kids really appreciate that I'm not telling them what to do. I'm like, here's the stuff, here's some support if you need it, and I'll help them one-on-one if they have a question, but I'm not just saying click here, now click here. And I think that's a really big thing to let go of. So it's not about the stuff. It's about that maker mindset and the willingness to just try stuff and be like, oh, this could be awful, and it could just create a large, huge mess and make you really frustrated, but that's okay. And just remembering that it's about the kids doing something that they don't usually get to do.